Hey everybody, Math Day 46. A little bit more of our book about the millennium and how we think about time. Now I know what a millennium is. Why is it a millennium now? Because it's the year 2000 in our calendar, 23 years ago. That's a long but interesting story. And can you remember anything you did yesterday or last week or some of the things forgotten by history? Imagine what it would be like to trying to keep track of an event that happened 50 years ago or 100 or 1,000. People need to remember events of the past and to plan for the future, so they count years. To keep track, people invented calendars, but calendars start at different times. The Chinese calendar is one of the longest running calendars in history. It began in 26 BC when the Emperor Huangdi introduced it. By this calendar, the year 2000 would actually be 4698. And what does BC mean? We now say before the Common Era, but before Christ. Or before candy, if you're an M&M. The Islamic calendar began in AD 622. Anno Domini is AD 622. Anno Domini is kind of officially when Christ died. And so it's about 422 years after Jesus died, or 622 years after Jesus died. And the Islamic calendar remembers when Muhammad journeyed from Mecca to Medina, and as a result, in the year of the new millennia, the Muslim calendar would read 1420. The Hebrew calendar counts from what the Jewish people historically believed to be the time of creation, a date even earlier than the beginning of the Chinese calendar. The result, the year 2000 would be the Hebrew year 5760. Today, there are about 40 different calendars in use around the world, usually to mark religious holidays and traditional festivals. No single one is more correct than the other because each serves its own purpose. But so many calendars would be confusing. You wouldn't want to get on a plane in New York in the year 2000 and arrive in China in the year 4698. That's why almost everyone uses the same calendar but is celebrating the millennium. The millennium comes now because the calendar says it does. Many years ago, a Catholic monk had been given the task of figuring out when Jesus was born. When he gave his report to the people, he added the words Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, to a date that he had counted from the birth of Jesus, which the monk figured to have been 500 years before. Since then, that Latin phrase has been abbreviated by writing AD to symbolize any date after the birth of Jesus. The abbreviation BC stands for before Christ. But a lot of people don't want to acknowledge Jesus, so now they say BC is before the Common Era. Just so you know the difference. Game Time by Stuart J. Murphy. Illustrated by Cynthia Jabbar. Sorry about that. Game time. This referee's got a watch on his hand. There's a scoreboard. This is going to be a big game. Here are some facts about time. 60 seconds equals 1 minute. 15 minutes equals a fourth or a quarter of an hour. 30 minutes is a half an hour. 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour, or 3/4. And 60 minutes equals 1 hour. Game time. Wish us luck. Just before practice on Saturdays, a group of girls passed by the soccer field and yelled out, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we think is really great? The Falcons! Yay! Maria, Rebecca, and Ashley were heading to the locker room with Oliver. They yelled back, Huskies, Huskies, we're the best. We're going to put you to the test. So things groups say to get themselves excited and ready to win. The big soccer game between the Falcons and the Huskies was just 1 week away. Last year, the Falcons were the league champs. We can beat them this year, said Rebecca. Then we'll be the champions. We have the best mascot, said Ashley. She gave Oliver a big hug. It's already October 7th, said Maria. We only have 7 more days. We'll have to practice really hard. So there is their month of October. They said today is the 7th, and their big game is the 14th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days away. 1 week equals 7 days. All week long, the Huskies practiced dribbling, passing, and scoring. Oliver came to every practice. Finally, it was Friday, and the championship game was 1 day away. Don't worry, said Rebecca. It's 24 hours. In 24 hours, the game will be over, and we'll be league champs. Right, Oliver, said Ashley. Woof, agreed Oliver. 1 day equals 24 hours. On Saturday morning, Rebecca, Ashley, and Maria hurried down the street to the soccer field to meet Coach Russ. And the rest of the team. Oliver came with them. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So here on the game clock, it says game time left 60 minutes. So they're going to play for 1 hour of total time. They got there at 9 o'clock and the game started at 10. They had 1 hour to warm up. The Falcons are already there. They looked tough. They looked good. They looked really good. In 60 minutes will be Falcon food, said Maria. After both teams had stretched and warmed up, Jake the referee arrived. It was 10 o'clock. Jake looked at his watch and yelled, "Game time!" Both teams were ready for the kickoff. Oliver galloped up and down the sidelines. Oh, I didn't notice. There's a school back here, and its clock said 10 o'clock, and this time it says 9 o'clock. So the artist is doing a good job of moving the time around. Can you see the hand on the clock on the school? That big hand's moved. The little hand always points to the hour time, and the minute goes and moves much faster. So 15 minutes have already gone by, a quarter of an hour. The two teams dribbled and passed the ball up and down the field for almost a quarter of an hour. No one scored. Then one of the Falcons broke away and ran for the goal. Maria did her best to block the goal, but it was too late. The Falcons scored the first goal, and Jake blew his whistle, and the first period was over. Already 15 minutes had gone by. 15 minutes equals a quarter of an hour. Just 5 minutes in the second period, a teammate passed the ball to Rebecca. With a quick kick, Rebecca sent the ball flying past the Falcon goalie. So up here, they have the score. Falcons 1-0. And how many minutes are left to play? It says 40 minutes. Oh, and look. They moved the clock 5 minutes forward because they said 5 minutes later. And a half hour later, look, it's 10:30 there. Falcons 2, Huskies 1. There were 2 minutes to go in the second period. One of the Falcons got the ball again. It was almost halftime. They'd been playing for nearly 30 minutes. Ashley tried to steal the ball back, but the Falcons kicked it past her right into the goal. Halftime! Jake yelled. Half an hour was gone, and the score was Falcons 2, Husky 1. 1 half hour equals 30 minutes. The two teams ran off the field for a 15-minute break. While they rested and drank lots of water, Coach Russo gave everyone orange slices to eat. Even they had a dog biscuit for Oliver. They got us beat, Mariah said. We'll never get to be champions. Is the score that bad? They're only ahead by 1. They still have a half hour to play. Anything can happen. We can still do it, said Rebecca. Remember our cheer, Huskies, Huskies, we're the best. We're going to put you to the test. The whole team shouted, and Oliver barked away. Your 15 minutes are up, hollered Jake, and they rushed back on the field. And Oliver says, you can do it. Woof, woof. Both teams were playing good defense, and 15 minutes passed without a goal. Oliver watched from the sidelines. Both teams were playing good defense, and 15 minutes passed without a goal. Oliver watched from the sidelines. Jake blew his whistle to announce the third period was over. They'd been playing for 45 minutes, and the Falcons were still in the lead. And up here it says there's 15 minutes left. It's now 10 o'clock. So they played for 15 minutes for the first goal, or now 11 o'clock. 15 minutes, and the Falcons scored. They paid for another 5, and the Huskies scored, and then the Falcons scored right before halftime. They had a 15-minute break. They played for 15 more minutes. It's now 11 o'clock, and they have 15 more minutes to play. That's sort of the fun from the front page. As the fourth period began, Rebecca yelled, "This is our last chance! Go, Huskies, go!" Ashley shouted. Oliver barked and barked. For most of the period, no one could score. Then Ashley got the ball and headed it to Rebecca. Rebecca turned, got the ball, and kicked it right in the goal. "Tied game," yelled Jake. 1 minute to go. So a tied game of 2-2 means nobody's winning, nobody's losing. The game could still be 0-0, and nobody would be winning, and nobody would be losing. Falcons had the ball again, but Rebecca rushed it and stole it. She took off down the field. Already 45 seconds to the last minute were gone. Coach Russo ran to the sidelines. The crowd was counting down the seconds as Rebecca ran. 15, 14, 13, 12. Rebecca got ready to kick the ball, but suddenly a Falcon blocked her shot. There was no way she could make the goal. 11, 10, 9, the crowd yelled. Quickly, Rebecca passed the ball to Maria, and Maria kicked it into the Falcons' net to score. Woohoo! Huskies win, cheered the team. The Huskies shook hands with the Falcons, and they charged off the field. The Huskies finally won the championship. We did it! Yay! The end. Game time.